On a scale from 1 to 5, 6.
Why am I coming in so small? Pause. What it is, what it do? It is your boy Alan said the place to be. Thank you for rocking with me another Friday. As we get things started. So we're gonna get right into Buffalo. But before we get things started, shout out my Sideline Talk family. Herb, Tay, John, appreciate you fellas. And as the banner says, Buffalo Bills defeat the Miami Dolphins last night. It was a very competitive contest. It was controlled, but it was very competitive. The Bills stay undefeated on the season, and Miami has yet to get a win. But division matchups are sometimes close. And last night, until, Tua was driving to tie up the game, and he threw an interception. Once that interception was caught, they kicked the field goal, became a 2-possession game, and that was pretty much all she wrote for the Bills. Josh Allen and his season after the MVP is starting off on another MVP type season. So he can have his second straight MVP. He went 22 for 28 yards. I don't know why I can't talk tonight. I'll start that over. He went 22 for 28 with 213 yards and 3 touchdowns. James Cook added another 108 yards and a touchdown. Dalton Kincaid led all receivers with 5 catches of 66 yards and a touchdown. Besides the first 3 quarters of the season, when they played against Baltimore, Buffalo was pretty much looked dominant all year. Not even going to hate on that. And then that fourth quarter, when they came back, they looked dominant. So Buffalo was doing their thing. Buffalo is definitely one of those teams to beat. I don't know if we're going to put them as the team to beat just yet because of the 2 of the 3 teams that they beat. I don't have high hopes for anyway. They beat 2 teams that's pretty much bottom dwellers in their conference and division. So I want to see them against another dominant squad, one that won't give the game away at the end, and see if they can actually, take advantage of that. But despite who they have to play, because they get those 6 games in their division, they might have this division locked up early December, depending on what the Patriots look like, and be fighting, maybe Baltimore, maybe the Chargers for the number 1 seed in the whole AFC. So shout out to Buffalo. And I don't know what people be looking at when they say Josh Allen don't have no help. Josh Allen got James Cook, and James Cook has been playing very well. James Cook and Josh together has been pretty much cooking every game. They've got a touchdown in every. No, I would take that back. Josh Allen did not score a touchdown last game, but James Cook has scored a touchdown in every game that they played so far. So, I think the Dolphins, however, on the other side, I think the Dolphins are cooked. I don't think they get it right under this regime. It's too much been made of them being a soft team, too much of them being made of they can't play in the cold. And it's 80 degrees outside right now. Like they can't play in the warm weather either right now. So the Dolphins are definitely cooked. McDaniels just started his career off being the players coach and a lighter hand, I will say, than Brian Flores. And when Brian Flores was trying to build up culture and build up toughness in that team, they rebelled against it. Got him fired, got McDaniel in there, and now he's trying to develop it. But you can't go from the soft parent to the tough guy. Like that doesn't work. And McDaniel's just not going to be the one that's going to go ahead and add the toughness to this team. So within the next few weeks, I can see him, moving on to greener pastures. And defensive coach Anthony Weaver will probably take over on an interim basis for the rest of the year. See if we can get another black coach, to be the full-time coach next year. And, maybe look in April in the draft and see if it's time to replace Tua. I know Tua's average of $53 million a year, but he ain't playing $53 million. Y'all might go ahead and eat that salary cap hit because it ain't looking good for them. But yeah, I think this team believes they matched out. By the time trade deadline come around, I can see them selling a bunch of pieces. Regardless of what Tyreek has done off the field, he a beast on the field. So I can see someone like the Chiefs making a play to get him back. Another or for another wide receiver. I can see them selling off Bradley Chubb to a team that needs a pass rusher. Just getting cheaper. I don't think anybody's gonna take on that Tua salary, so they kind of stuck there until they draft, his replacement. That's probably going to be the best look there. But like I said, it should definitely be time for them to look for one. And this is, they already had the players only meeting, but they might need another one to see and discuss without Tua in there if they trust him, if they can get, do they believe Tua is the guy moving forward and what they need to do to make sure he is, or to get him out of there if he isn't. All right, tomorrow starts off the college football week. We should go ahead and talk about the top 25 teams as they're ranked. Number 1 and 2, Ohio State, Penn State, they're on bye this week. LSU has a light tune-up game against Southeast Louisiana, a D2 school, so that should be a pretty easy night for LSU. Number 4, Miami takes on Florida. Florida has not looked great this year, so I can see that being an easy win for Miami. Number 5, Georgia gets a bye. Oregon is taking on Oregon State, I believe. So, again, another light game. So 7, Florida State, 8, Texas. The top 25 matchup, Illinois versus 19, Indiana. That one should be a good one. I believe Illinois defense is going to make life hell for Indiana. So I can see Illinois winning that one. Oklahoma versus 22, Auburn. So they start their SEC play. That one's going to be a good one. I can't call that one. Either way it go, that won't be a good one. Utah versus Texas Tech. It's going to be a good game as well, but I got Utah winning that one. And those are the only 2 top 25 matchups for this weekend. No, 3. Illinois versus Indiana, 9 versus 19. Oklahoma versus Auburn, 11 versus 22. And 16, Utah versus 17, Texas Tech. And then pretty much everybody else has, tune-up games. Be careful of this number 23 matchup. Number 23, Missouri versus South Carolina. Last time I called an upset pick, they got routed. So I'm going to be wary of calling this one an upset pick. But if Lenore Sellers and South Carolina gets off to a good start, I could see them upsetting Missouri. It's an upset. I'm not calling it to happen. Don't waste your money on it. I'm not telling you to bet. I'm just saying it could possibly, very, very unsure possibly happen. Don't waste your money on it, though. All right, so let's go ahead and get back to the NFL. Steel City, my rivals, the yellow team to the west, as I call them. But I'm football guy today. I'm not Raven guy right now. I'll bring you a special episode of Purple Friday and have it a Purple Saturday tomorrow. So that's not what we're doing. But as you see, is this a must-win early in the season for Pittsburgh? And I think it possibly could be, because the first part of that schedule was very light. So this is where they need to go ahead and stack their wins. And they did not look good these first 2 weeks as far as the offensive line. They scored a lot of points and they were motivated against the Jets, but they did not have that same motivation against the Seahawks. That was not what was going on. The most shocking thing about this team is its defense. Mike Tomlin is a defensive coach. I've never seen the Steelers defense look this bad. All my years of disliking the Steelers, I've never seen them look this bad. So they got problem with the trenches, and that's where the game is won. Game was won on the offensive line, they struggled there. Game was won on the defensive line, they getting pushed back. So I don't know if the Steelers can right the ship, especially on that offensive line. They got dogs on the defensive line. They could easily correct that. They got dogs there. They got a rookie there. Still got TJ Watt. Still got old man Hayward. Nate is there running outside linebacker. You got PQ in the middle. You got Malik Harrison in the middle. I think they can definitely go ahead and turn that defense around. But I don't know if the offensive line can, and they protecting the old man Aaron Rodgers. Broski at least 44 out there behind that offensive line. He looking like he ain't trying to make it to 45 behind this damn offensive line. But, the defense, if they can get that together and get the Drake May against the Patriots, then they should win this game. But if Drake May is out there frying them, then they really, really got to gut check this defense. I don't know if the Patriots, Christian Gonzalez, or Gonzo as I call him, I don't know if he's playing. If Gonzo is playing, I'm matching him up one-on-one with DK and let fireworks happen. I think both of those guys are great. I think you can match them up. But again, like I said, this the light part of that schedule. I know none of these NFL games are easy, but the light part of that schedule is this first string of games. That next 4 games, the next 3 is the Vikings, the Browns, and then the Bengals without Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, if you haven't heard, is going to be out for the next 3 months. So, but their next 3 games is Vikings, Browns, and Bengals. The 3 after that, Packers, Colts, and Chargers. So this the lighter part of their schedule compared to the 3 after that. So they definitely need to go ahead and figure out a way to steal this win and get the offensive line, the defensive line back on track. All right, so Philly versus Rams is another game that I'm looking at. I don't know how they put both of these on the 1 o'clock window. Not that smart. But Philly versus the Rams at 1 o'clock. Philly hasn't played any tough matchups yet. They've pretty much controlled the Chiefs last week. They controlled the Cowboys, give or take, that first half. Being down Jordan Davis, but they pretty much won that game with ease. But the 2 people that they've beat so far is 1-3. If you combine their records. The Rams coming in here 2-0. The Rams got good offense. The Rams got good defense. So you going to definitely have to rely on your playmakers if you're Philly. You can't have Jalen out here trying to manage and, throw everything underneath and, check down Charlie. You need to go ahead and use AJ, Devontae, D. I don't know if they get Goddard back. Need to check on that injury. But I think these two teams match up very well. They're very similar. They're very well coached. But like I said, this could be the first test of the Eagles this season to see where they are. So far, if you haven't checked out my power rankings, spoiler alert, the Eagles have been in pole position for the last 3 weeks. That's just how it is if you're the champs and they haven't lost. And they've, like I said, pretty much controlled games. This week, I don't know if you're going to be able to do that same ordeal with controlling them. So somebody all got to go. And if I had to pick, which I'm about to do in a second, for to start with that game, Eagles versus Rams, I'm picking the Rams for the upset. If I had to pick. But let me go ahead and pick these week 3 games. Give me 1 second here. Pull this up. All right, so coming up on Sunday, the 1 o'clock window, you got Pittsburgh and New England. Like I said, I'm going with Pittsburgh on this one, just because they need to. They got to play desperate. I'm going with Pittsburgh on this one. Commanders versus Raiders. Without Jaden Daniels, I'm going with the Raiders. Carson Wentz used to be a hill that I chose to die on, and I lived and died by that sport, but I'm not doing that again. I'm finally over that. I'm not doing that again. I'm going with the Raiders over the Commanders on this one. Also at 1 o'clock, you got the Falcons versus the Panthers. I'm going with the Falcons on that one. I think the Falcons' young offense is getting it together. I don't know if Carolina is the worst team in the league, but they ain't not looking good. And then you have Green Bay versus Cleveland Browns. I'm going with Green Bay. Green Bay has looked like they are potentially the best team this young season. Houston is undefeated. I'm sorry. Houston is winless, and they're taking on Jacksonville. Jacksonville should be 2-0 right now. They lost to the Bengals last week. They should be 2-0. I'm going with Jacksonville on the upset on that one. If I had to pick, and I'm picking. So I'm going with Jacksonville on that upset. And then we have the battle of the backups. Jake Browning for the Bengals, and who was playing for? I don't know who the Vikings backup is. Is that the Kirk Cousins? Not Kirk Cousins, Lord. Carson Wentz. I gotta look at their backup. But I'm going with Cincinnati on that one. Too many weapons. Jake Browning is a good young quarterback, and he auditioned for a starting job. I'm definitely going to go with Cincinnati on that one. Rams versus Philly, I just picked. I said it was going to be the Rams. The Jets versus Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay has looked good, but I'm not buying it. But this week, I'll buy it. Tampa Bay is going to win this game. Indianapolis versus Tennessee. I'm going with Indianapolis. They've looked good so far, 2-0. I'm going Indianapolis. Chargers versus Denver, AFC West. I think the Chargers making a clean sweep with the AFC West and beat Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos to go to 3-0. Seattle versus New Orleans. Seattle wins. Dallas versus Chicago was an ugly game. Coin flip on that one. And my coin is telling me Cowboys going to win that one. Very ugly, though. Arizona versus San Francisco, battle undefeated. I'm going with Arizona. San Francisco's still a little banged up. They may or may not have their quarterback. I'm going with Arizona on that one. Sunday Night Football. Boy, they lucky this is week 3. I also have been flexed. Sunday Night Football, Chiefs is taking on the Giants. Both of them 0-2. Chiefs get their first win. If the Chiefs do not get their first win, they got Baltimore coming into their building next week trying to get their first win. So Chiefs are definitely going to go ahead and try to take advantage of playing the New York Giants. So they get their first win. And then Monday Night Football, Ravens versus Lions. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get into this game a little bit more in depth on a different podcast. Go to wherever you get your podcast from, whether that be Apple Podcasts or Deezer or Spotify, and listen to the bonus episodes. I don't really release them to YouTube because they're more so, intimate, personal for the flock. I appreciate y'all. Appreciate my team. But Ravens versus Lions, I can see a high scoring game. If the Ravens defense come to play, the Lions going to be early. Because I don't see them stopping the weapons that the Ravens have. Not being biased, just being straight up and down. If y'all couldn't stop what Green Bay was putting down, and Green Bay only put up 100-something yards from Jordan Love, Lamar Jackson having that in the first quarter, guaranteed. But I can see a high-scoring game for both of them, and I'm going with the Ravens to win that game. All right. I'm going to go ahead and end it here. My alma mater is playing at 6:30, so I'm about to sneak on over to Overly, see what's up with them, holler at people, kiss a few babies. But I'm about to go over there, and I will catch you guys later. Thank you for listening to Al You Bugging. Be blessed, be productive, be more. I love you. We out.